The world's a dangerous place. Get the industry's original and most trusted laser sighting system from Crimson Trace. A laser and light systems will enhance your effectiveness and help keep you and your family out of harm's way.
Lock and load. It's time to load up on some intellectual ammunition with Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. It doesn't matter if you learn to shoot with Daniel Boone or you're brand new. You're welcome here. This is the original national talk show about guns, and Tom Gresham is your guide through the maze of ballistics and politics. So grab your phone and call in right now, 866-825-5486, or just dial 1 Tom Talk Gun. Now, here's Tom. We're in the middle of a special Memorial Day weekend edition of Gun Talk, paying tribute to those who have died in battle, defending our freedoms we enjoy today.
All right, we're back with Tom Gresham here, 866-TALK-GUN. We will take your calls. We're going to have a guest on here in just a minute, but first I want to get to Michael, who's called in from California on line 2. Hey, Michael, I appreciate you staying with us. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. How can I help you?
Well, I was just tuning into your show today, and as a gun rights advocate, I would like to ask you a question. Have you read the recent Politico article by Michael Waldman, how the NRA rewrote the Second Amendment?
No, I have not. I don't go to Politico for my information.
Okay, well, I'd like to ask your opinion on it. Basically, Waldman had some pretty compelling evidence that in the mid-1970s, the NRA began political lobbying and basically changed the American public opinion on how the Second Amendment should be interpreted, and that before the mid-70s, the Second Amendment was not widely interpreted to advocate personal gun ownership and instead just for militia.
There's some truth to that, in that I was there in the 70s, believe it or not, when the NRA made a change in their perspective and their approach. Basically, it all came together in 1977 in Cincinnati at the NRA's annual meetings there. I was there for that. Before that, the NRA was primarily a hunting group. They really weren't concerned a whole lot with politics. And in 77, that changed with a changing of the guard at the NRA. So that basically before that, they really didn't get into politics very much. And so before that, the general public didn't think much about it. Now, I will say that there has never been any Supreme Court decision that said that the Second Amendment was a collective right. It's always been a right that was reserved for the people. You'll notice that the phrase "the people" appears several times in the Bill of Rights. The First, Second, Fourth, Ninth, and 10th Amendments all use the phrase "the people," and it always means individuals. It never means the state. So there's never been any doubt that the phrase "the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed" refers to individuals. It's never referred to the militia.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have a contrary opinion on that?
Well,
we may have lost him.
Do you think that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you think that the courts have been expanding the rights of gun owners since then, or is it still an uphill battle, you think?
I don't know that we are extending their rights. I think we're regaining some of the rights and basically establishing rights we've always had. The right to keep and bear arms was not given to us by the Second Amendment. It was not presented to us. It's not granted to us by the government. It's a right that pre-existed the foundation of this country. The whole idea of the Bill of Rights was that the Founding Fathers said, wait, before we do this Constitution, let's just get one thing really clear. There are several rights we bring to this country before there's even a country. We're going to have you a list here, and we're going to have a list of these 10 rights. We want to make sure that the government that we're about to form says, you understand, you keep your cotton picking hands off of these. We have these rights. They pre-exist the foundation of the United States of America. And they had these 10 rights that they called the Bill of Rights. And their whole deal was, these are things that we bring to the party. These are things that we are bringing in before there's a country. So make no mistake, these are not rights that are granted to us. These are not rights that are given to us. The government does not establish these rights. These are natural rights that we have. That's the foundation. That's the basis for the Bill of Rights. And when you understand that, then you understand that people who say, well, you have rights granted by the Second Amendment. No, there are no rights granted by the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is merely a listing of rights that pre-existed the foundation of this country. So sometimes people get a little bit hung up. They get confused on the language. Let me just read you the entire Second Amendment. It reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, the Supreme Court has already ruled that this is an individual right, not a right that has to do with the militia. But some people still have a little trouble understanding it. So I try to help them out a little bit by explaining it this way. What if it read this way instead? And it was all about the right to read books. So what if it read this way? It said, a well-educated populace being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and read books shall not be infringed. Would you read that to mean that only the well-educated could keep and read books? Or would you read it to mean everybody has the right to keep and read books so that we have a well-educated populace? Of course you would. And that's the way it's worded in the Second Amendment. The reason that the people have the right to keep and bear arms is so that we have a well-regulated, which means practiced and equipped, not regulated as in controlled and restricted the way it's thought now. But in the language of the day, regulated meant it's practiced, it's equipped, it's ready to go. You and I are members of the militia. I appreciate the call. Tell you what, 866-TALK-GUN. When we come back, we're going to be talking reloading right here on Gun Talk.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Looking for shooting instruction but don't know where to go? Well, we have it, and you can access hours of training and safety videos, which you can watch on your home computer. On GunTalkTV.com, we have top competitive shooters, the best in self-defense trainers, and folks who have hunted all over the world, helping you learn which gun to buy, how to use it, how to store it safely, and everything else you need to be a safe and competent shooter. We also have gun makers showing off their newest rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran shooter or a complete beginner, you'll find what you need at GunTalkTV.com. You can check it out for free, and you can get full access for only $5.95 a month. That gives you unlimited access to hundreds of videos, and we're adding more all the time. Run the videos over and over to make sure you understand what's being said. Skip around. You're in control. Get smarter. Shoot better. Visit GunTalkTV.com.
Hi, I'm Michael Bain. You know I hate cleaning guns, so anything that makes that job faster and easier is definitely a plus. And that's where Bore Tips come in. These reusable, lint-free cleaning swabs make cleaning a breeze. And the tighter-fitting Bore Tips do a better job on barrels than cotton mops or patches. Hey, it's a dirty job. Let Bore Tips help. To find a dealer, visit boretips.com.
There's a rise in home invasions in America, and you need to be ready. Ready to protect yourself and your family. The bedside backup from Crossbreed Holsters keeps your gun at your bedside, ready to go. It also folds flat for easy storage and travel. Take it with you and use with any hotel bed. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com. The bedside backup is not a child safety device.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to SpringfieldArmory.com. That's SpringfieldArmory.com.
You're listening to a special Memorial Day weekend edition of Gun Talk.
Welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here, 866-TALK-GUN. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like all of a sudden a lot of people, or maybe it's not all of a sudden, but it seems to me that all of a sudden a lot more people are interested in reloading than ever have before. So I've invited actually a long time friend, Robin Sharpless, is joining us right now from Redding Reloading Equipment. Robin, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good. I was trying to figure out how long we've known each other, and it just fades out. I can't remember a time when we didn't know each other.
I remember we spent an awful lot of time together on the city suits years and years ago when the anti-gun mayors first came after us all.
Yeah, we're talking 94, something like that.
Yep,
right?
Yep, 94, 95, in that time frame, yes.
Yeah, it's going way back. Well, am I misunderstanding things, or is there like a huge increase in interest in reloading over the last couple of years?
There is a staggering increase, and one of the interesting things is statistically, NSSF released some information now about 8 months ago. Traditionally, hand loaders made up, and this is all form, shot shell, metallic, etc. Hand loaders made up something like 17% of all shooters.
Okay.
Well, NSSF did a study, and it showed it off about 8 months ago, back before SHOT Show, that number has reached almost 25% of all shooters. Now, if we couple that with the fact that we have more shooters today than we've had in many, many years,
right.
Yes, reloading has boomed beautifully.
Well, it has to have, because I'm on your website and I'm seeing notices from Redding. It's talking about shortages, and if we don't have this, and custom important notes on custom dies due to the current high demand, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going, where are all these people coming from? Do you have any idea is it? I know it can't be just because they want to save money. There's got to be something else going on.
No. I think there are probably 3 different things. The first one I'll tell you is, yes, they still want to save money, but saving money is a whole new deal because, you and I both remember the days when you could buy a box of 22 23s, a plain box for $3.99. There's still some of those out on my shelves in my garage. Yeah. But so saving money became different from the perspective of the cost of ammunition today is so much higher, and there's a bunch of things that are driving that. And it's not that the ammo companies are making money hand over fist. It's that the components like copper have gone up so dramatically because of the worldwide use of copper, and the fact that both our cartridge cases and our projectiles have copper in them. The same with lead, because lead's turning into solder to make computers or dishwashers or whatever they're doing.
Yep.
So that's a component, but it's a new component because it's not the traditional. And we can look at this from some demographic information we gained from our website, and that is beginning hand loaders used to be, and you and I both were these guys, the young guys that did it to save money because they couldn't afford better or anything else. Mm-hmm. We're seeing just a dramatic demographic shift. We're now seeing that early hand loaders, 1 to 2 years involved in the sport. Folks who come to our website, actually the last numbers I had were close to 70% of them are over 40 years old and just getting started into hand loading.
Now that's interesting. So, and there are 2 possibilities here. One is that they are still new into shooting, and the other is they've been shooting a long time, but then they've just decided to get into hand loading all of a sudden.
Well, I can sort of give it to you in microcosm. About 3 years ago, an individual called my customer service team, wound up talking to me, and said, listen, I shoot an M1A that probably costs more than your car. I always bought Brand X match ammunition. I knew what my weekends were going to cost me, and my weekends now cost me about 3 times as much. So I called one of your retailers and spent a huge amount of money. Now teach me how to use it over the phone. And he was a gentleman in his 50s. So
okay.
It is a shift. Now, that's the first component, is the cost component. Second component is the quality component. We have to realize that today's serious varmint rifle probably 20 years ago would have won most of the bench rest matches that it entered.
True.
So precision is coming up. Precision. The requirement for precision is coming way up, and of course, we find our precision through hand loading of our ammunition.
Right.
Gaining that extra consistency, gaining that extra ability to cleanly take game at longer distances than we could have with the ammunition we were buying off the shelf.
Right.
And in the third piece, which is really even more interesting, is that we are seeing this shift into folks that don't necessarily want to be as dependent on anyone as they used to have to be. Whether we call it preppers, whether we call it survivalism, whatever the name's going to be this year. Mm-hmm. But we've seen that because we of course own Seiko, the bullet casting company,
right? And
the bullet mold business has gone crazy as well. And these are folks that just said, look, I can't find the stuff I need. I can certainly find lead. I can certainly, come across wheel weights, do whatever. And you know what? I don't want to give up on my hobby because I'm dependent on a company that's not delivering at the rate I need.
Yeah, and then you take all of that, and I'm watching this incredible growth and interest in long-range accuracy shooting, which is part of number 2 as you're talking about. And people they get into this, and then they realize the only way I'm going to get the very best out of my rifle is to hand load. And I don't care who you are, I don't care how good the ammo is. Even the guys who make really good factory-loaded ammo, they will tell you, if you want the very, very best, down to the last tenth of an inch of a group, you're going to have to hand load for that exact rifle.
Exactly. Because we've got a whole host of variables that we can now start to tune for that specific rifle. Be it bullet seating depth, be it working in a velocity spread that is still certainly legitimate and safe based upon pressures, but we can fine tune that rifle. In many cases, we're gonna fine tune that velocity down and find that our groups shrink dramatically.
It's amazing. But sometimes you can drop the velocity off 100 feet per second, and your groups will shrink by half.
Yes, and the other piece that we get, because think about this, and anything that's made by people is going to have some variability. Anything that's made by machines is going to have some variability as well. Mm-hmm. Well, the best stuff in the world out there for factory ammo is going to have that machine variability. It'll never be the same as you or I sitting there with a good quality scale trickling powder in to know that we're loading 46.2 grains of powder every time, and we're not loading 46.3 and 46.1, both of which would be safe, but they're not the same.
Right, right. Well, tell people about Redding.
Well, Redding's been around since 1946. It was actually started in Cortland, New York, in a chicken coop with an individual who made really one of the first repeatable, high-quality scales for measuring powder and bullet weights. Okay. Over the years, it continued to grow. We have a team that are pretty much all very hardcore shooters, bench rest folks, etc. And a lot of our innovation, and our innovation tends to come from within. We like to make our new things, not buy them from somebody else. Mm-hmm. Our goals are always to look at real problems that are out there in the marketplace and come up with a way to solve them. I mean, 5 years ago, we introduced our GRX die. Simple little thing, but it took that eccentric bulge out of brass that was shot in a particular 40 S&W handgun, which leaves a bulge in one side. Uh-huh. Well, all of a sudden, a very inexpensive and unique tool brought literally tens of millions of rounds of once-fired brass back into the ability for folks to be able to hand load it.
Okay.
Guys that were out there, I've got a friend on the PD or the sheriff's department that gave me a bucket of 40, but the problem is it's got that bulge and it won't fit into my STI because it came out of something else.
Right. Well, so you got a solution for them.
So we created a solution for it. We were.
In my experience, Redding loading dies, among the people who really know their stuff, have always been considered the best loading dies. Why is that?
100% American made. I mean, our steel comes from America. They're all made in one factory right in Cortland, New York. We buy all American machinery. And then there's the other little pieces. In Tom, you know this because For instance, you'll notice that on top of our dies are really nice machined blued finials that have got knurling on them, so it's easy to adjust them with your fingers. You don't need a nut or a little screwdriver to adjust things. We try to keep it simple. But, it's good old American quality. We polish things that other people don't. We use steel, a grade of steel that other folks don't. So and I'll be honest with you, we cost a little bit more. But, I like to look at it from a value perspective. For every dollar you spend with us, I really think you get more of a return than with some other brands that are out there.
Well, the other thing is, when you buy a set of loading dies, unless you let them rust, they will last forever.
That is correct.
I mean, they will last hundreds of years if you don't let them rust. So if you spend $10 or $20 more for them and you get precision, big deal.
And we'll also do this. We're going to give you a warranty, and I'm sure you're aware of this. We stand behind our stuff for the lifetime of the product. I tell you that there are products that we get in and still service Reading powder measures that are painted brown and not green, and that goes back in the 1950s. the web as well. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I want to make sure people knew where to find you. It's Reading, Redding, Reading-reloading.com. It's Reading-reloading.com.
Yes, sir.
And you've got presses, dies, powder measures, all this stuff, as well as tons of information. And you can download the catalog, right? Or you can actually request it and get it sent to you.
Either way, we'll send you the full-size catalog via mail, or you can download it if you need it real quick.
And when you talk about Seiko, casting your own bullets, shooting your own bullets, and then going out and shooting a critter with your own cast bullets is just one of the more fun things you can do.
From the days of Elmer Keith casting his own hard cast, big heavy bullets that he couldn't buy, bullet casting does give us opportunities to do things that, you just can't get off the shelf.
It absolutely does. Look, thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate it. I mean, Reading is just one of those great American companies, and if you're thinking about getting into reloading, I would suggest people, metallics, we're talking about metallics now, guys, handguns and rifles, go to Reading-reloading.com. Robin, keep me posted on everything. I appreciate the set of dies I just got from you for the 458. I'm going to ring those out, and I'll let you know how that works out. Ouch.
Will do. Yes, will do. Well, enjoy yourself, Tom, and again, great chatting with you again.
All right, you take care. Robin Sharpless from Reading. Truly a great company. If you've thought about getting into reloading, check out their stuff by Reading-reloading.com. Cool stuff. I love reloading. I like making my own ammo. I like the precision. I got to tell you, you know me, I like the geekiness of it. Gun geeks are us, and I am one. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back with more Gun Talk.
One of Talker Magazine's 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. You're listening to Gun Talk, heard every week at this time on great radio stations across America. Stay tuned. Gun Talk is coming right back. Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
Back with you, 866-TALK-GUN. Don't forget to go to guntalk.com/win. Enter for a chance to win a really cool Smith & Wesson revolver we'll be giving away here. Also, we have Twitter going. I am at Gun Talk on Twitter. I am also Tom at guntalk.com if you want to send me an email. I'm getting several from people commenting on what's going on here. And, of course, the easiest way, and look, the most fun way to continue the conversation is to give us a call, 866-TALK-GUN, get you in, and we can yak about, well, darn near anything that has to do with guns or gun politics or ammo or reloading, or we can go as geeky as you want to get, okay? We'll just have fun with the whole thing. Ian is on line 2 driving through Iowa. Hello, Ian. You're on Gun Talk.
Hi, Ian. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
How can we help you?
Well, I'm on my way to New Hampshire, and I was wondering what the gun laws were like out there.
Well, they vary, like every other place. You say you're on your way. I mean, you're literally driving there right now to move there?
I'm literally driving there to move there from Colorado.
Do you have any guns in the car with you?
An old 1945 303.
Okay.
But it's disassembled, and obviously the ammunition is not with it.
Okay. There are a couple of places I would send you for information. One is the NRA's website has a rundown on state gun laws. The other is a website called handgunlaw.us, not .com. It's not .com now, it's .us, handgunlaw.us. And they have a rundown on a lot of the gun laws in various states, and you get information there. I think you're going to find it to be reasonably okay, better than some, not as good as others. But in terms of the details, you're just going to have to go online and see, how it impacts what you own. Do you have any other guns that you're shipping out or anything?
Nope, just the 303.
Okay. You'll be okay with that.
Infield.
Yeah, you should be okay with that. I don't know if you have to, if there are any kind of local, and each state has its own regs. I don't know if there are any kind of local or state regs in terms of registration, licensing, any of that stuff. Again, just check online. You can find that out. I wish you luck with it, and I hope the moves goes well for you. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. Kevin's on too, out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Hello, Kevin. Okay, we're trying to get Kevin, and we're connecting and reeling him in, or maybe we're not. Okay, Kevin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Well, basically, I just wanted to comment about people that have one opinion or another on the Second Amendment, particularly judges that seem to make rulings that, to me, are just totally without any kind of foundation to the historical context of the U.S. Constitution. All the founding fathers were born British subjects, and they were very familiar with British common law. And if you look into British common law, you'll see that the militia consisted of all able-bodied males between the ages of 16 and 60. And basically, if the militia got called up, you showed up with whatever kind of weapon you had. And the militia even predates firearms. People would show up with farm implements, whatever kind of weapon they happen to have.
A pitchfork, yeah.
And exactly. And it bothers me that there are judges that. I'll give you an example. I'm a high school teacher, and I have a small textbook that deals with the U.S. Constitution. And it was written by an attorney, supposedly, I guess, a constitutional attorney. And when he does his interpretation of the Second Amendment, he says it refers to the National Guard. Now, I point out to my students that can't be correct because the Constitution was written in the late 1700s, and the National Guard wasn't even organized till the National Defense Act of 1916.
Right.
So they couldn't have been referring to the National Guard. So the militia has to refer to an individual's right to own a weapon. And if you get called up, you show up, and then they organize you.
Well, you know what the drill is here. Almost all law schools have taught this screwed up interpretation of the Second Amendment for 3 generations now. And so you have a lot of lawyers who become judges who've accepted that and lived with this bogus interpretation of it. And they're struggling to come to grips with the Supreme Court's ruling that the Second Amendment is an individual right, not a collective right. You have our famous guy who lives in the White House who supposedly was a constitutional scholar who never understood the Second Amendment, never understood the Bill of Rights, got it wrong at every turn, got it wrong before the Heller decision, said this was a collective right. And this is supposedly some kind of constitutional scholar. He taught constitutional law. So I'm not at all surprised, but I congratulate you, sir, for getting it right and making sure your students know that just because it's in the book doesn't mean it's right. And I'm going to use this as a jumping off point, if I may, Kevin, and that is, and I would ask you, parents need to know what's in the books their children are studying, right?
Oh, absolutely. They need to they need to know, what's in their textbooks, not only about the Second Amendment, but other things, because there are things that get put in there that you read it and you go, really? Are you kidding? This guy must be an idiot.
Yeah, some of them just don't pass the smell test. So, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment. Yeah, in fact, ask your junior high schooler to show you the history book, the part about Constitution. Look at what those books say about the Second Amendment. I would bet more than half of them have it wrong, and they're going to say that for some reason the Second Amendment is some kind of collective right. They may even mention, as our caller says, the National Guard, which of course there was no National Guard when they wrote that, so it's just silly on the face of it. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. DurysGuns.com.
One machine, one operator. Each machine is run by a single pair of hands. Hands that spend all day, every day, learning the machine inside and out. We don't believe in quotas. The point is crafting faultless ammunition, no matter how long that takes. It's not quick or easy. Being the best never is. Black Hills Ammunition. It started with our hands.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now Gun Talk presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At ShopGunTalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. ShopGunTalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Honoring those who lost their life in battle, our vets, and all those who wear the uniform. This is Gun Talk.
All righty. I have to talk about something for just a second here. Give me just a minute, okay? This is about the open carry guys who go into a Chipotle restaurant in Texas with their long guns. Talk about people who don't know what the battle is, don't know how to win or lose, don't recognize a win or a loss. These guys go into a Chipotle. The result of it eventually with several steps in between, is that this national restaurant chain, Chipotle, issues a statement and asks people to not bring their guns in. Same thing that happened with Starbucks, exactly. Now it looks like it may be happening with Chili's. For those who say, it's my right, I got the right to keep them bear arms, I can do this. Yeah, you can. Do you for a minute think this is winning? Have you seen the picture of the two dudes? With all due apologies to Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, these guys look like Fat Man and Little Boy. They come there dressed like slobs. They got their tap coat out, tactical SKS, goofballs beyond belief, and wonder why anybody would be upset with this. And of course, the Bloomberg-backed moms demanding action and the anti-gun groups, they go to Chipotle and say, see, you got to do something about it. And they understand. Here's the thing. They know where the game is being played. Our guys are showing up on a football field carrying baseball bats. They're so clueless. They don't understand that the game is public relations. The game is not rights. The game is public relations. That's what's going on. The battle is for PR. The battle is for the hearts and minds of the public. And these women are smart. They go to Chipotle and they say, look, we're not asking you to make a change in your policy, okay? All we're asking you to do is make a statement. Just a statement. We kindly request that you don't bring your guns in. No big deal. Don't change your policy. You don't even have to put up any no-gun signs. Cool. So Chipotle issues a statement. We're just asking gun owners to not bring their guns in. We respectfully request this. It gets played up everywhere. Jon Stewart is all over this thing. It's everywhere. And the story is idiot gun owners bring their long guns into a family restaurant, forcing the restaurant to ask them not to bring their guns in. We look like idiots because those dudes are idiots. Excuse me. This is a loss. This is a PR loss. This is part of the open carry continuing saga of losing. Because we want people to look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Nobody ever paid attention to me before. Now they're paying attention to me. Oh, cool. Look at me. Losers. You may have been losers before, but you're losers now because you just caused us another loss. You caused us a huge public relations loss. And PR is what drives public opinion. And public opinion is what drives the passage of laws. When you lose public opinion, you will lose in the legislature. You will lose in Congress. You will lose in courtrooms. When you drive the public away and you frighten them, they will not want you around. They won't want me around. What did you think was going to happen here? I get it. In Texas, you can't carry a handgun openly. You're trying to force open carry. Loser. Bad idea. Bad tactics. Losing tactics. Stupid. Can you tell how upset I am at this point? Come on, people, get a clue. Wow. Just wow. I have often said there are some on our side I wish would go work for the other side because that is the result of what they do. And for these guys, that's it, man. In fact, honestly, if I were the Moms Demand Action, I would pay somebody to go do open carry into another restaurant. I would pay good money for this because it's a huge PR win if you're a gun banner. I would pay the open carry crowd to go in and do this in every restaurant I could. And every time I can get another nationally based restaurant to proclaim we would rather people don't bring guns in, masterful PR win for the gun banners. Did that happen here? I don't think so. I don't think they had to. I think these guys were willing. eager. Look at me, look at me, look at me. That's all this thing was. That's all it could have been. There was no other outcome here. There's no way to use this to force anything good, and as a result, we end up losing big on it. Thanks a lot, dudes.
Gun Talk stands for safety, personal responsibility, and common courtesy. To be a part of the show, call 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Gun Talk will be right back.
Talk Gun. In just a minute, we'll be talking with Matt Light, NFL lineman, and now with a great charity, and some news about some really cool guns that are being auctioned off that you can get involved with, and also help out a really good charity for helping some kids. First, let's go to line one. Jason's with us out of North Dakota. Hello, Jason.
Yeah, hi. I'm a fairly new reloader, been doing it for about 5 years or so, and I'm a younger guy. And one thing I'd like to comment too is on the ballistic coefficients of bullets nowadays. They've really come a long way, and the availability through reloading has made that possible. I know there's some companies that sell some of those bullets, but just another aspect of reloading, I guess that made it more interesting for me to get into. So,
what calibers do you load, Jason?
I shoot a lot of 224 calibers, I guess, for varmint rifles, and the 7mm, I guess, would probably be my top two.
You know, and you make an excellent point. I'm glad you brought it up. The BC, the ballistic coefficient, is a measurement, it's a number on how sleek a bullet is. A big old round nose fat bullet's going to have a low number, and a big long sleek pointy nose with the boat tail is going to have a higher number. And here's what happens. If you have a high BC, the bullet is not going to have as much drag, so it's not going to slow down as much, so it's not going to drop as much, but also, and here's the really, really important part of this, it's not going to drift as much in the wind, and the drift is the real key. The wind is the big deal. You can dial in for drop. Wind is variable, and so any bullet that bucks the wind better is great. And these high BC bullets we have available now are huge, and some of them are practically off the charts. They're so good.
Yeah, I mean, the 6.5 millimeters and the 7mm are easily breaking the 600 ballistic coefficient. And,
yep.
You know, my dad has shot a 270 for years, and I, you know, the 130 grain bolt tail is what he's always shot. And, you know, the ballistic coefficient isn't quite there, but, you know, even Nosler's long-range AccuBond now, I think it's kind of reinvented the 27 caliber bullets. So, yeah, there's a lot of great bullets, and they continue to keep coming out with better ones. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned the 6.5s and the 7s. I have spent the last 2 weeks, looking over calibers, the 6.5s and the 7mm. I want to get a new rifle. I don't know which one. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I don't know which one to get. I'm thinking maybe a 260 Remington, maybe a 6.5 by 55, maybe a 6.5 284 Norma, or the 7mm 08, because they're such good bullets. But I know I want to be in there, and I don't want a Magnum. I just want something that it doesn't have to go fast if you've got a high BC. That's the other thing.
Yeah. And, you know, obviously with caliber, we're restricted by diameter of the bullet, and so the longer we can go, you know, we got to go heavier. And I look at it as, what kind of game are you chasing? You know, the 6.5 is great for medium skin game, whitetails, mule deer. I mean, that's what we have here in North Dakota primarily. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was leaning towards that. 7mm, if you want to go heavier towards bigger game or whatnot. And even the 30 caliber, there's great ballistic coefficient bullets out there.
Absolutely.
So you just got to pick your weight range on what you think you need and go from there. So.
Absolutely. Well, look, I appreciate you calling, Jason. It's great info, a great chance to talk about BC. And, you know, one of the reasons to become a hand loader is to get access to these great bullets that are out there. Noslers, the Barnes, the Berger, VLDs. There's all kind of specialty bullets out there that have incredible BCs. And a lot of them now are being made for hunting, so that means they have good terminal ballistics. That is, they perform well when they actually hit an animal, they mushroom, they expand the way they're supposed to. If you haven't gotten into reloading, now's a great time. There's more options than ever before, so it's very cool stuff. And besides that, it's just huge amount of fun. I mean, a lot of stuff out there. And you can learn so much doing it. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking with Matt Light about his charity and an auction where you can get some of the coolest guns you've never even heard of.
No black helicopters here, just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.